New Moon, The Twilight Saga #2 by Stephenie Meyer. Anxious heartbeats. Bella Swan sat on her bed, her heart heavy with the weight of her thoughts. Months had passed since that unsettling dream, but the image of an aged version of herself standing beside an eternally young Edward still haunted her. Sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow on the familiar surroundings of her bedroom. Her eyes drifted to the faint scar on her hand, a reminder of the werewolf attack, and a testament to her own fragility. "Bella, are you okay?" Edward's velvet voice, rich with concern, interrupted her musings as he entered the room. His footsteps were silent, but his presence filled the space, offering a sense of comfort she had come to rely on. Bella managed a weak smile, her eyes searching his beloved face. "I was just thinking about the dream. You know, the one where I saw us. Only you were forever 17. And I was an old woman." She paused, her voice catching in her throat. "It made me wonder why we have to leave Forks when your family is also moving on. It's been a while since we had that conversation, and it's been bothering me." Edward's eyes, golden and full of understanding, softened as he sat beside her on the bed. He took her hand in his cool touch soothing her restless mind. "It's complicated, Bella. We need to ensure their safety and give them a chance to live peacefully among humans without drawing too much attention. Our paths are intertwined, but sometimes we must take different routes to protect those we hold dear." Bella nodded, her eyes downcast as she traced the lines of his palm with her finger. "I know. It makes sense logically. But it's hard, Edward. Really hard. I can't shake the fear of leaving this place, of moving on with my life while you and your family remain forever the same." A pained expression crossed Edward's perfect features, his brow furrowing slightly. "I wish there were an easier way, Bella. But our nature binds us, and I could never bear to see you face the sacrifices and challenges that come with immortality. It's a dark path filled with endless nights and an unquenchable thirst." Bella's heart twisted at the mention of immortality. She thought back to the dream, where she had seen herself as a frail, silver-haired woman, her skin wrinkled with age, while Edward remained unchanged. "What if I want that, Edward? What if the sacrifices are worth it to me, just to be with you?" Edward's eyes widened, and he pulled his hand from hers, taking a step back as if startled by the intensity of her words. "Bella, you don't understand. Immortality is a curse, not a gift. The loneliness is suffocating, and the constant thirst for blood is a battle that never ends." "But I'm willing to take that risk," Bella insisted, her voice shaking. "I love you, Edward, more than anything. The thought of spending eternity by your side is worth any sacrifice." Edward's expression softened, and he took her hands in his thumbs brushing gently over her scars. "My dear Bella, your humanity is what makes you so extraordinary. Your heart beats with life, your blood flows with warmth, and your soul radiates light. These are the very things that drew me to you and continue to captivate." Bella searched his eyes, trying to understand the conflicting emotions swirling within him. "But I'm scared, Edward, terrified actually. The thought of growing old while you remain forever young haunts me. What if one day I'm a frail old woman, and you're still the eternal 17-year-old? Edward pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly against his chest. "Shh, Bella. Let's not borrow trouble from the future. We have each other now in this moment. I promise to love and protect you for as long as you wish to be with me. Forever is a long time, but it's also filled with endless possibility." Bella snuggled closer, breathing in his intoxicating scent, a mixture of lavender and something uniquely Edward. She knew he was right. They had to focus on the present and cherish the time they had. But deep down, the anxiety lingered, a constant reminder of their contrasting natures and the uncertain future that awaited them. As they sat entwined, the sunlight shifted, casting long shadows on the walls. Bella couldn't shake the feeling that their time together was fleeting, and the weight of their choices loomed large, shaping the course of their lives in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. As the days passed, Bella found herself torn between her desire to be with Edward and her fear of the unknown. She knew that being with him meant embracing a world of immortals, where the rules were different, and the stakes were higher, but she couldn't help feeling drawn to him like a moth to a flame. One evening, as they walked through the forest, Edward's hand in hers, Bella realized that she needed to make a choice. She couldn't keep living in limbo, caught between her mortal life and the immortal world that beckoned. "Edward," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I need to know more about your world." "About what it means to be a vampire." Edward's eyes narrowed, his grip on her hand tightening. "Are you sure you're ready for that, Bella?" he asked, his voice low and serious. Bella nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "I'm ready," she said, her voice firm. And with that, Edward began to tell her the secrets of his world, secrets that would change her life forever. Chaos and departure. The Cullen house buzzed with tension. Bella stood, her heart racing under the cautious gaze of Edward's family. Her birthday party had become a minefield. "Happy birthday, Bella," Edward murmured, handing her a small, wrapped box. Bella's fingers trembled as she unwrapped it to reveal a silver bracelet. "It's too much, Edward," she whispered. Edward's smile was pained. "Nothing is too much for you." As Bella examined the bracelet, a paper cut drew a single drop of blood. The room stilled. Jasper moved, but Edward was faster, shielding Bella. "Later," Edward said. "We have to leave. It's not safe for you here." Bella's world crumbled. "I can come with you," she pleaded. "No, Bella. This isn't the place for you," Edward replied, anguished. "But I love you," Bella protested, voice breaking. "And I love you," Edward whispered. "Which is why we have to go. I can't risk something happening to you because of me." Bella felt the finality in his tone. "I don't want you to come, Bella," he said, his words like blows. "I don't want you." Bella whispered, her voice cracking. "Why?" Edward's eyes were distant. "Because I love you, and I won't risk losing you." Edward turned and walked away, his family trailing behind like ghosts. Bella stumbled, her legs buckling as the world crumbled around her. Solace in the storm. Bella stood in the garage, the smell of oil and metal filling the air. Jacob was there, his hands covered in grease as he worked on the motorcycle they had been repairing together. The sound of tools clinking and the occasional grunt from Jacob were the only sounds breaking the silence. "Hand me that wrench, will you?" Jacob asked without looking up, his voice echoing slightly in the small space. Bella passed him the tool, her gaze briefly meeting his. Jacob noticed and smiled. "You know, you don't have to just stand there. You can help me with this," he said, patting the seat next to him. Bella hesitated, but then took a seat, picking up a rag to wipe down some of the parts. "I don't know why I'm doing this," she admitted. "It's not like I'm suddenly going to become a mechanic." "It's not about becoming a mechanic. It's about doing something, anything, to keep your mind off things," Jacob replied with a chuckle. Working on the motorcycles with Jacob gave Bella a sense of purpose, a distraction from her thoughts. As they worked, their conversation flowed easily, ranging from school to friends, and even touching on the supernatural events that seemed to be drawing ever closer to Bella's life. Their hands met occasionally as they passed tools back and forth, a comfortable camaraderie between them. Establishing a rhythm in their shared task. The garage became a place where Bella could lose herself in the mechanics of the bike, the parts and pieces coming together under their combined efforts. As the afternoon waned, the sound of an engine outside briefly caught their attention, but it faded, leaving them once again in the quiet companionship that had become their refuge. With each part they fixed and every problem they solved, Bella found a piece of herself mending too, the companionship offering a healing she hadn't known she needed. These ideas. I didn't do it. Supernatural encounters. Bella's heart raced as she entered the meadow, a place once filled with tender memories now overshadowed by solitude and hidden perils. The sun's rays bathed the clearing in light, yet a shiver coursed through her as Lawrence stepped out from the trees. His crimson gaze held her captive, signaling danger. "I thought you were with the Denali Coven," she ventured, her voice a mask of calm. Lawrence's smile was chilling. "Their ways no longer suit me," he said, eyes locked on Bella, hinting at his sinister intentions. Desperate, Bella clung to memories of the wolves, the forest guardians, hoping for their intervention. She engaged Laurent, seeking to delay any attack. "Weren't you deterred by the Cullens when with James?" she probed, invoking her protector's names. "Afraid?" "Hardly. But now they're absent," Laurent retorted with confidence. As panic set in, Bella's mind conjured the voice of reason, urging her to stand firm. Laurent advanced, each step deliberate, his predatory nature unveiled. Confusion gripped her. Why would a vampire fear the wolves, and why would they target him over her? Suddenly, a growl pierced the silence. A colossal black wolf emerged, its focus on Laurent. The vampire's assurance wavered. "What is this?" he hissed, retreating. The wolf bared its teeth, and its pack materialized, encircling Laurent with an unnatural speed and agility. Their eyes burned with an unspoken intelligence, more than mere beasts. Bella remained frozen, her heart pounding in her chest. The lead wolf's gaze flicked toward her, and she sensed an unspoken command to flee. With one final defiant glance at Laurent, Bella turned and sprinted from the meadow. The sounds of snarling and scuffling faded into the distance as she ran. She didn't stop until she reached the safety of her home, her legs trembling beneath her. Breathless, she leaned against the doorframe, her mind reeling from the supernatural encounter that had just saved her life. As the adrenaline slowly ebbed away, Bella's thoughts turned inward. Her hands still shook as she made her way to her room, the silence a welcome respite from the chaos. She collapsed onto her bed, trying to process the events that had transpired. Fear still lingered, but it was tempered by a sense of gratitude toward the wolves. They had intervened when all hope seemed lost. As she lay there, Bella's thoughts drifted to Jacob and Charlie, wondering how they would react if they knew about the encounter. Her connection to the world of vampires and wolves was far from over, and she couldn't help but wonder what other dangers lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to strike. Entangled loyalties. Bella confided in Jacob about the vengeful vampire Victoria, unintentionally involving him in the supernatural conflict. As she shared her concerns, Jacob's loyalty to the Quileute pack and his promise to protect Bella drove him to strategize with his pack to ensure her safety. "I'm telling you, Jacob, I have this feeling that Victoria is still out there," Bella said, her voice trembling as they sat on the beach, watching the sun set behind the trees. "Ever since Edward killed her mate, James, she's been after me. It's like she's everywhere, biding her time and causing chaos just to get to me." Jacob's expression turned serious. "We've known about Victoria's vendetta against you. Her strategy is clear. Isolate and strike. But we won't let that happen. We're prepared." "I don't know. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I feel like she's watching me," Bella replied, her eyes scanning the surrounding area nervously. Jacob placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry, Bella. We'll take care of you. My pack and I will make sure you're safe." Bella's eyes met Jacob's, filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Jacob. Just knowing you're looking out for me makes me feel better." As they walked back to Forks, Jacob detailed the Quileute pack's plan to deal with Victoria. "We've been keeping an eye out for any sign of her return. If she does come back, we'll be ready." Bella nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. With Jacob and his pack by her side, she felt more protected than ever before. However, as they approached Charlie's house, Bella's anxiety resurfaced. What if Victoria finds out where I live? What if she hurts Charlie? Jacob's grip on her hand tightened. We'll make sure that doesn't happen, Bella. We'll keep a close eye on Charlie, too. As they parted ways, Bella felt a pang of guilt. Crossroads of the heart. Bella sat on the edge of her bed, enveloped by the night's stillness. The clock's persistent ticking echoed the turmoil within her. Wrapped in the red sweater that still carried a hint of Edward's scent, she longed for the past's simplicity. Suddenly, Jacob's face appeared at the window, his presence a comforting warmth in the chill of her room. "Bella, we need to talk," Jacob implored, urgency in his tone. "I know, Jake. I'm just so lost," she whispered back. Jacob's gaze held hers, filled with concern. "Bella, your safety is paramount. It's not just you at stake now." She understood the gravity of her choices. "I'm aware, Jake, and I regret the danger I've brought upon us all." As Jacob reassured her of his unwavering support, Alice materialized, her expression grave. "Bella, Edward's in peril. He's mistakenly believed the worst and has sought out the Volturi in Italy." Bella's pulse quickened. "What can we do?" Alice explained, "My visions revealed Edward's despair. He's planning a desperate act to provoke them." Realizing the urgency, Bella agreed to leave for Italy immediately. Jacob, conflicted yet resolute, insisted on not letting her face the danger alone. Bella touched his arm, gratitude in her eyes. "Jacob, this is something I must do." With a tense nod, Jacob finally acquiesced. "Just promise me you'll return." With a heavy heart, Bella assured him. And with Alice's guidance, they set out into the night, racing against time to save Edward and alter the course of their intertwined destinies. Racing against time. Bella and Alice hurried through the narrow streets of Volterra, the ancient stones whispering secrets of the past. Bella's heart pounded with fear and determination as she struggled to keep up with Alice's swift pace. "Are we almost there?" Bella asked, her voice urgent. "Just a bit further," Alice replied, scanning the horizon. "We need to reach the clock tower before noon." Approaching the crowded plaza, Bella searched for Edward among the sea of red-clad festival-goers. Spotting a break in the crowd, she bolted towards the clock tower where Edward stood, his pale skin almost glowing. "Alice, I see him," Bella exclaimed, pointing. Alice nodded, worry etched on her face. "Hurry, Bella. We can't let him do this." Navigating through the throng, Bella focused on Edward, the love that had brought her here fueling her resolve. She remembered his cold touch, his penetrating gaze, and their promise of eternity. As she neared the fountain, Bella's determination surged. She skirted its edge, zeroing in on Edward by the clock tower. "Edward," she called out. He turned, a tumult of emotions in his eyes as he caught sight of Bella. She closed the distance between them, each second critical. "Stop, Edward, please look at me," she pleaded. Their gazes locked, and he stepped back from the brink, away from the sunlight that threatened to expose him. Bella reached him just in time, her arms encircling him. "You promised," she whispered fiercely. "You promised you wouldn't leave me." "I thought I was protecting you," Edward murmured, his voice filled with regret. "I can't live in a world where you don't exist." Alice joined them, her presence a calming force. "We need to leave now," she urged, glancing around at the curious faces beginning to turn their way. Together, they navigated through the crowd, the weight of the Volturi's gaze heavy upon them. But for now they were safe, their love a shield against the darkness that loomed ahead. Bella knew the challenges were far from over, But with Edward and Alice by her side, they faced the future with a united front. Love and transformation. The Cullen family gathered in the dimly lit living room, a sense of urgency hanging in the air. Bella stood beside Edward, her resolve as clear as the unwavering gaze she fixed on each member of his family. "It's time," she said, her voice steady. Carlyle, the patriarch, looked at Bella with a mix of admiration and concern. "Bella, are you certain?" Bella nodded. "I know what I want. I want to be with Edward forever." Edward took Bella's hand, his expression torn. "Bella, love." "I've made my choice," Bella insisted. "Not just for you, but for me, for us." Alice smiled softly. "I've seen it, Bella. You'll be happy." Esme added, "We'll be here for you, Bella, whatever you need." Emmett grinned confidently. "Let's face it, having Bella as a vampire will be epic." Rosalie spoke up, her voice measured. "Bella, are you prepared to leave your human life behind?" Bella met Rosalie's eyes. "I'm ready." Jasper observed the emotions in the room before speaking up. Bella's courage is clear. With each supportive statement, the tension in the room eased slightly. Bella's gaze shifted to Edward, seeking his approval. Edward's eyes held a mixture of emotions as he looked at Bella. "I can't lose you," he whispered finally. "If this is what you truly want, I will support you, always." The family discussed the implications of Bella's transformation, weighing the benefits against the potential drawbacks. In the end, they voted unanimously in favor of Bella's transformation. The relief and joy that washed over her were indescribable. As the chapter drew to a close, Bella stood amidst the family she had come to cherish, feeling a sense of peace and acceptance. She knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but with their help, she was ready to take that leap into eternity.